Hi, I'm Meg Johnson and welcome to today's video, Awesome Person Video, where we identify people and what makes them awesome and amazing. If you like this video, share it with somebody that you think is awesome. And so anyway, I think you're going to like this video because of the person I'm going to tell you about. Well, actually, it's the people, this group of people that I'm going to tell you about. So, so we lived, when my husband and I were first married, we lived in kind of like the heart of Ogden, Utah. And so we had this little side of a duplex, and so we were living there. And across the street from us lived this wonderful family from Mexico, the Rodriguez family. And this lady was so awesome. Like, she made me horchata once when I totally botched it. Anyway, they're awesome, and the couple was really awesome, and then they made some pretty dang awesome boys. And these boys were kind of big, and they were like the football player, gonna get, drafted into, play college football and stuff. They were big kids, big football player boys. Not all of them, because some of them were older and like out of high school, and then, well, one of them was older and out of high school, and then it kind of went down through high school, and then there was, the junior high boy. And they were always playing out, basketball or football or whatever in the front yard, and they'd come and knock on my door, like, hey, can your husband play? They always like to play with my husband. They're like, come out and play basketball with us, this like tall, gangly white guy. And so they were just really, really awesome family. But I want to share that, so me being in a wheelchair, being a spinal cord injury and breaking my neck up here in the cervical area of my neck, and it makes it so I can't control my temperature. So if it's hot, I'm hot. If it's cold, I get cold, and so it's just hard to balance. And it's getting better, the longer I've been in a wheelchair, but this was, I don't know, earlier. This was about 8 years ago probably, because it was when my husband and I were first married. And so I was driving home from Salt Lake City, so it's about a 45-minute drive back to my house, and my air conditioner wasn't working, and it was in the heat of the summer. Like, Utah gets really hot around the late July, early August, really hot, and it was at that time. And I was just dying. I was spraying myself with a spray bottle with water. I was drinking water. I was just having a really hard time, and I kept saying to myself over and over, I can make it home. 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 And so I'm just chanting that to myself as I'm driving home, and I pull into my driveway, and I'm like, oh, I'm home. I made it home. I made it home. And the way I get my wheelchair out of my car is I use a remote control that's, right next to my driver's seat, and I push the buttons, and it lifts the chair out of the back of the car, swings it around with a little crane, and then drops it with a cable next to my driver's seat. Okay, that's how I get out of my car. If you want to watch that, you can go to my website, megjohnsonspeaks.com, and put in a little search box, how to make it out of a car, or whatever you want to do to find those videos and those pictures. Anyway, so I grabbed my remote control because I'd said the whole drive, like, I can make it home, I can make it home. And now here I am in my driveway, and I say to myself, okay, I'm home. And I grab my remote control, and it just lifts. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do that. And that's the whole point of the story. Like, I grab my remote control, and I push the button, and it doesn't lift. It doesn't lift anything. And like, it's totally broken. It's just, sometimes it just doesn't work. And I was like, oh my gosh, I should have been chanting to myself, I can make it this whole day, like, I can make it inside my home. But since I'd only been saying, like, I can make it home, I can make it home, and then I'd identified being home in my driveway, all of a sudden I didn't have any, I just couldn't do it. I was at the end of my physical rope. Like, I just couldn't hold on any longer. I was too hot. I was too hot, and I just couldn't do it. And I'm parked in my driveway, and my car is off, and my wheelchair is not coming. I can't get in my nice, cold, swamp-cooled house. And I just look next to my driveway, because my driveway's small, and so I'm parked right next to the grass, and it's nice, long, lush grass, And I was like, oh my gosh, that grass looks so nice and cool. And so I'm so tired, I'm so weak, I'm so amazingly hot. But I just throw myself out of the car, and I land on the ground, in the yard, in the grass. And as I'm laying there, I'm just letting my neck and my face and my hands like touch this grass, just so I can cool down a little bit and let this grass cool me. And I'm so hot, I can hardly even talk, like I'm just nothing. And, but as I'm laying there on the grass, I'm not there for very long before I hear like this rumbling, like a stampede, like, you know, and I can feel it through the grass, and it's the Rodriguez boys. And they had been playing basketball across the street, and they had seen me. I mean, it's not a big deal for me to just pull in my driveway and go into my house. I see that all the time. But they saw me throw myself out and onto the grass, and they were like, oh! And they like came running over, and they're looking down at me, these huge, big football player boys. And they've even got like some friends over, and so there's like a big group of them, and they're looking down at me, and they're like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Are you okay? And I can't speak. I can't speak because I'm so hot. And I'm trying to tell them, I'm like, I'm just hot. And I'm not even being dramatic, like I honestly can't talk. And this one big, you know, the biggest of the Rodriguez boys, he just reaches down and he scoops me up in his arms. And I'm just trying to tell, like, I'm just hot. Like, trying to tell him. And he carries me, and all these huge boys are like carrying around this little disabled girl, you know, don't know what to do. And, you know, they get my keys and they get me into the house, and they go into my room and they put me on the bed, and I still can't even tell them. Like, I can't even tell them that I'm just hot. But they put me on the bed and they get my phone and they call my husband, and my husband works over at, or he doesn't anymore, but he used to work just at a university, Weber State University, really close to our house. And he comes home, and by that time, I don't know, been like 5 or 6 minutes, 7, I don't know, 10 minutes, I don't know how long. But by the time my husband gets home, I'm just hot. And my husband understands what that means. And so he like, because these Rodriguez boys had like stayed with me to help me out. So anyway, that is the awesome person. Well, those are the awesome people that I wanted to talk about in the video today. Those awesome people who saw a need and didn't just go inside and say, hey mom, hey dad, something's going on, you know, across the street, but they just ran. You know, like, something's wrong, not for long, like, and they just ran across like valiant superheroes, you know, and they didn't know what to do, and they were these kids and intimidated by this lady like laying there in the grass and like trying to communicate with them. And I think that is an awesome quality, to just jump in and help somebody, even if you don't know how, even if you have no idea what you're doing, which is what these boys did. And they did everything they could to see that I was okay and stayed that way. So I just love those boys so much, and I love watching for people who are awesome, because everyone's different. Everyone's different in their own way. Like, you know, you can't just expect some sweet 85-year-old librarian to see someone like me on the ground and run across and scoop her up in her arm. You know, that's not what makes her awesome. She's awesome in a different way. But these young football player boys, they put all of their strength and all of their talents and abilities and blessings to work to help me. And that's what makes them awesome. So anyway, thanks again for watching. I just love to make these videos. If you liked it, share it with somebody that you think is awesome. Come and find me on my website, megjohnsonspeaks.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Those links are in the description below. And subscribe to this channel if you're not already. There's videos coming out every day, and they're all designed because all of us have hard times, and we need a little edification, and we need a little help, because this life gets really hard. And when it does, we could just keep on rolling. Both of us, me, like literally, and you know, maybe figuratively. So anyway, we'll see you next time.